I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
And welcome back into another episode of RR After Dark. I am your host, Nick Alice, driver number 24, Coastal Financial Ford Mustang. Joining me today, we have Trevor Keith, driver number 15, KSX Racing Graphics Ford Mustang. Trevor Earhart, driver number 41, Black Rifle Coffee and Earhart Enterprises Chevy Camaro. And Justice Murphy, driver number 12, All About Bugs Chevy Camaro. Our guest tonight is none other than the loud talking, mostly in Discord, not really on the racetrack, Michael Call, driving number 89 Snap On Chevy Camaro. So to get in really quick here, first off, no, you guys, we are doing a brand new setup with our OBS settings here. So shout out to Logan, aka Santa, for helping me out with that. So no, the crowd did not hear anything that you just said, TK, while I was talking. So congratulations, you guys can talk while I'm talking now. So right off the back, Michael Call, I know you've been here for a full season already. So this is your second season in RR. It's been a long time coming. I know you have a lot to say, a lot to talk about. So right off the back, I'll let you introduce yourself to the people.
Well, my name's, you guys already know my name, but everybody that doesn't, that watches V Speed or, tunes into the league every Wednesday night, my name's Michael. I've raced IRL for, gosh, what is it now? 22 years. So that's really all I do is go to work, hang out with my kid, and race cars. And race with these guys and get wrecked by them every other Wednesday night.
Not all of us, just the one with the
Just the
bugs.
guy to my, just
The,
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 the
one with
guy
the
in the
bugs on the
orange.
car.
yeah, just the guy to my right.
I like how he said every other Wednesday. Like this isn't a regular occurrence every Wednesday.
I didn't get wrecked last night, so it worked out.
Because you
all
weren't
right.
driving the 53.
Oof.
We'll definitely get into that situation here in a little bit. So, I think we should start off. I know, Michael, we're gonna give you your whole segment to yourself here in a few minutes, but let's do a quick Daytona recap, and then we'll get into everything it is about Michael Call. So, right off the back, we had our season 5 season opener at Daytona for the Daytona 250. It was, for me at least, I thought it went a lot smoother than what we thought. Usually the first race of the season with new guys, there's a lot of, I don't want to say tempers, but there's a big feeling out process, and we had a good, I think it's like 10, 11 newcomers this season, or just part-time guys that are now full-time. So I thought it went pretty smoothly. I also starting on the front row was really nice to start the season, so that was kind of cool. But I'll kick it to Justice here because I know you started in the back, so I want to know what your initial couple of laps were felt like for yourself being back there.
And I asked TK, I think all I did was bitch for the first 59 laps of the race, dude. It was the worst thing on the planet. So I guess I was supposed to be starting 30th. I guess when Berger didn't grid, or didn't show up, it actually just moved everybody up one spot instead of one row. So I started 29th, but the checkups were incredible, and some of that you can chalk up kind of to what you were talking about, kind of new guys in the field, filling each other out, everybody kind of figuring out the draft package. Because for whatever reason they like to tweak it just a little bit, just enough to annoy everybody season to season. So it was really bad for the checkups. You just kind of all of a sudden you were there, or if you were in the back of the pack, I mean, it happened a couple times. Guys lifted to kind of not hit the guy in front of them, and then lost the draft, and then all of a sudden you got a pack of five 2 seconds behind the field. So yeah, I got split twice. I got split twice from the back of the field. So it was brutal early, and then just kind of one good pit cycle, one good lane choice, kind of make your way forward. It's kind of the way that worked for me, and then it's kind of stuck there.
Now I know the two Trevors both balled and pretty. You guys both made your way, or you guys both started up front. So I know TK, you were third. Trevor Earhart. I don't know, where did you start?
Like 12th, I think, is where I
12.
Oh, okay. So
started.
you're above the top half of the field.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys feel the same way as Justice with being with all the checkups and stuff? Obviously, being in the front, it feels a lot different than being in the back.
Yeah. I know TK, you were up at the front with Nick a lot of that first
Yeah.
half of the race. I ran, I don't know, between 5th and 15th pretty much that whole first half to the stage break. And I don't know what it was, but you would every, I don't know, other lap, it felt like there was a massive checkup on the bottom that generated somewhere from like the fourth car in line on the bottom row. So that could be a lot of things. It could be a bad push coming out of the corner that kind of gets somebody checked up. You get off centered, cause a checkup. But I thought compared to other super speedways we've done, the checkups were pretty bad. I thought the racing overall though was relatively clean. I know Justice and I were talking about it earlier today in our kind of team recap that we're at the point as a league where yeah we have new guys coming in, but the main guys are the same guys that have been here for 2 or 3 years every time you go to a super speedway. But I think this was the first time I legitimately complained pretty much every other team that the checkups were ridiculous.
Yes, it sucked. I mean, the checkups, I mean, even up front, they were bad. They were worse in the back, but up front, they were still bad. It was mainly in the bottom lane. Don't know the reason why. A lot of times at the bottom, it just stacked up really easily, and it was tough. It was tough to navigate through. I struggled with it. Justice said he complained the first front of the race, first half of the race. I complained the second half of the race because I was back there. So we done our both share of complaining back there. Um, when I was up front, it was a lot better. I did a lot less complaining. It was more strategizing, and then it was more complaining, less strategizing when I was in the back. But the stage was interesting though because you had Harrison in the front of the outside lane with Burns pushing him, and then me in the second in the bottom lane, and then me pushing Burns. So we kind of it kind of stems from that too. Me and Burns kind of playing game. We want like I wanted Tyler to win the stage, and he wants Rob to win the stage, so he doesn't push uh, Tyler as much, and I don't push Rob as much, and to try to manage that, and not push him too far out to where when the caution comes out, you want your teammate to win the stage and not the enemy team or whatever you want to say. But so sometimes maybe some of that was going on, kind of caused a lot of the checkups, but it was interesting.
So, Michael, I'm gonna give you a two-parter. One, I want you to kind of go off of the checkups and stuff. I don't recall where you started. I think it was like in the middle of the field. So just give your
Yeah,
take on
like
the
17th or
checkups.
something.
Okay, give your take on the checkups and how you felt the racing was. But second parter, I would love to know, since this is your second season here and this is your second season opener with us, did you come into this race more confident because you were a rookie last season? And did you feel more comfortable around certain guys, or did you know what to expect?
Um, on the when it came to the race itself, I just tried to stay clear of everybody. Honestly, it was I tried to, like we talked about in the Discord before the race, Justice was tried to leave that quarter car length gap, and it seems like no one else on the bottom lane wanted to do that. And so with me, I probably caused a lot of those checkups that were really bad in the back because I was trying to leave that gap so that we weren't wrecking on lap 3. Um, on the confidence level, I'm actually reverse to what you would probably think. I came into this league last year with way too much confidence, assuming that I was going to come in from the league I was running and run really good, win some races, like have no, kind of be up front. And that didn't happen. And so I went into last night just, hey, get through the race, be there at the end. And at the end, Justice got turned, but you know, you just got to be there. Like you got to be in the top 10 at the end with no incident points. Have your fast repair. There was so much to digest throughout the race to learn, and I was able to do that in the back, like learning how the runs came. TK and I ran the full 500 together. I think it was on Saturday, and we learned. I think from that alone, just like, hey, don't get too far.
Yeah, the speaking about not catching back up, so Caleb Gilbert, who was in our team Discord for the 250, he he ended up in the back somehow of like the first pack during mid race, and he was like, "Dude, I'm like keep losing the draft." We had no idea why he kept losing the draft. Didn't know what was going on, and we were like, "Wow, okay, so we don't want to be the last car in line." Come to
Yeah,
find out, it was just a connection issue, and his car just kept blinking, and that just registered him not actually sucking up to the car in front
he was
because
blinking.
it wasn't showing that he could draft up to the guy. So but great news. We start the season great with a 22 lap green flag run to start the season. We did green flag pit stops right off the rip. It was fantastic. It was great from the broadcast point of view to watch all the green flag pit stops and see the difference of guys pitting with 5 cars, 10 cars, and like 15, 18 all came in at once. It was a great little, it was like almost like an orchestra, like a ballerina, like display of how just perfect it was. It made us look like we were like an elite league. It was awesome. But after the stage, it seemed like everybody was very intense. Everyone was like, hey, you gotta get to the front because everyone knew from the first stage how much track position was important. And it wasn't so easy just to make you move and do a little do-si-do and get back up to the front. So, did you guys feel like the second half of that race was really intense and you guys were really trying to dissect the different moves that you guys had to do to get to the front at all?
Yeah, it didn't play out the way I thought it was going to. To be honest with you, I thought we were going to go green for a while, then the cautions would come late in the race. We kind of just had periodic cautions throughout the end, and then a couple big ones closer to the end. I thought we were going to have a couple more green flag stops, honestly, and I was trying to prepare for that, trying to save and stuff, and it really hurt me, Tyler, and Jacob. Just on the wrong side of the strategy there. Yeah, I just it was different. I don't know. I called out the wrong strategy and kind of hurt us all in the end.
I can
I
tell
think
you, as somebody who took their fast repair at the caution that happened before the stage, my thought was, how do I strategize my way up there? But you also have to be careful, right? I mean, you're one more wreck away from sitting on the sideline for 30 laps and watching the rest of it. So you kind of had to have a mix of both. TK and them kind of strategizing around how do we fuel save and stay up front. And I'm thinking, how do I just get up there with you to fuel save? And I think that everybody was a little maybe white knuckle, on the wheel there on the second, probably, gosh, I'd say about the last 50 laps because we got a weird caution with like 57 to go. And so it put us in a weird fuel window where we were probably, if we go green to the end, going to have to make like one extended fuel stop and one short one. And it was going to be, how do you play that to win? And so constantly changing strategy, I think, had everybody a little on edge the last, half of the race or so.
Yeah, it got weird there for a minute because I think we made one green flag pit stop post stage,
Yes.
and the field got
Yeah.
split into two packs. I think there were like 13,
It
It's
was
like
the front
13 cars in the
13.
first
14.
pack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and right as the second pack caught us in the lead pack, there was a caution as we started green flag pit stop. So that was kind of that weird spot in the race. And then after that, um, it's all about jockeying, trying to find your teammates, trying to find guys you want to work with, and being aggressive. And at that point, I mean, we had 30 to go, somewhere in there. And so the intensity level goes up, and there was just like TK said, there wasn't like what you expected. There was just like a sprinkling of, there was like a caution here, and then we go 10 laps and or 15, and there was another caution, and then we had the late race one that set up the green white checkered. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a good race. I know the finish was exciting for some, not so exciting for others. But overall, I think we put on a really good show, and we get to do it all over again this coming week in Atlanta.
Yeah, two back-to-back super speedways is always fun. Call. So what was your take on the intensity that you felt in the second half of that race, and then we're going to get the front row seat to the green white checkered after your take.
Yeah, so after this, well, I knew about halfway through the stage that I wasn't going to get stage points because it's so hard to get up through the field. And yeah, I was going to wreck trying to do it. So I figured, hey, just settle, get through the stage, and then go from there. And then the racing, to me, it intensified for everybody around me, but I kind of just stayed, hey, we still have 67 laps. I mean, there's so much that can happen in that time to get you cycled to the lead. So I just focused every lap on saving fuel, saving fuel, saving fuel. I didn't take tires one time all night. And at the end, it actually benefited me because when we had that last pit stop, I only needed a little bit of, really, compared to everybody else, I only need a little bit of fuel, and I jumped like 15 cars and got me into that top 10, 12, 14 area that gave me an opportunity to be set up for the green white checker to have a shot. Everybody on my team seemed to kind of amp up a little bit, but I just kind of just stayed calm. I didn't think it was time to go. My lap marker was 50-60. If we were still green at 50 to 60 and we hadn't had any yellows, and everybody was just kind of single filed out, then it was time to go, right? But we just like we got that caution halfway through, like Justice was saying, and it kind of from there just scattered everything. Like we'd go 10, 15 laps and get a yellow, and right before you were thinking about like, hey, maybe I could short pit this run and try to jump some cars, or so it kind of just got you stuck wherever you were. You didn't really have the opportunity, if you were in the back, to get a line going and get up front.
Yeah, being stuck in the back, you're either hoping for one or two things: a great pit stop cycle or a massive wreck, and you can avoid it, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just the circumstances of super speedways. Now, to talk about the green white checkered, I'm gonna bring in Justice here to talk about it really quick. But I'm gonna bring up a point that you said really quick, Michael. You were talking about how your team was the ones that were amped up while you were like the calm person. I can tell you before the green white checkered, one person in our team chat that was animated and really excited for where he was at was Michael Bennett. He I think it may have been before the grand checker, but it was like with under 10 to go. He was restarting in fourth or sixth on
Mhm.
the outside, and he was so excited to be up here. He goes, if you told me last night I was gonna be up here, I would have told you you're fucking lying." And he was so excited. He told us if he had the chance and he could get by us, that we would have to push him, and we told him no because none of us were shoo-ins to win the race. And after the race, he talk some shit because of one of us. But Justice, I'd love to get the start off the Greenwich Checker with you because I knew you had a whole front row seat to that. So walk me through green flag to start the Greenwich Checker and all the way through from your point of view.
I'm actually going to start it at the caution right before that, because we restarted with like 8 or 9 to go. ran some laps. It kind of gave me a chance to see how Rob and them would choose to restart. I know Rob was leading, but get to the green white checkered. I'm third in line on the top, behind Diaz and Bennett. We kind of get a decent launch, take off, and coming off of two. I'm not 100% positive. It could have partially been the push that I'm giving Bennett as the third car, but it kind of shucked them both like high. Diaz cycles down, goes all the way down, kind of takes the lead. Bennett gets shucked out of line, so now I'm the leader of the outside lane. Diaz gets shucked out of the way, ends up kind of behind me as well. And then Rob is starting to block both lanes. So coming to the white, Rob slides up in front of me, and just I didn't really say anything to my team. Just the thought in my head is I know I can be pretty aggressive with a push to Rob. If I can get him kind of far enough out there, it's going to give me the best chance to win. Um, Worked all the way to the exit of turn 4. Kind of played the cards exactly like I wanted to. Get a really good run on him. Kind of in the discussion we had this morning. It's like I told him I never expect anybody to concede a win. So I expected something as I was kind of making my way past. Just got unlucky. The hit was a little too far back into the car. We're both in the grass, and Nick got just a crazy push. I was watching it on V Speed this morning. I mean, Nick, I think you were 6 or 7 car lengths back in the restart zone. So it's not like it's a long way to the line. And Maddie just gave you a hell of a push to get by Diaz by a nose. I came back up, absolutely speared Call in the door, up off the grass. I mean, it just sped the car up, nothing I could do. But yeah, you kind of fight all race to get yourself up there. Like I said, I made kind of one good line decision after a pretty good yellow pit cycle worked out my way. The green flag pit cycle, when we got split into like the front 13 cars, I ended up 7th in line. So just kind of worked out to even get up there, and then, took my shot. It's like I was telling Trevor earlier when we were doing our debrief, you put yourself up there so many times, you eventually win them, right? I did it kind of to Alex at Talladega as the trailing car. Had a chance last week in the duels. I've done it at a couple of other these super speedway races. Eventually, you start winning them. Just wasn't to be last night, so can't be too mad about it. Gave myself a chance. It's all you can ask for in that situation.
Yeah, so a big shout out to the trader, Matty Robinson. Uh, Oh, you won. Maddie and I were joking all today about how the OG Performance teammates just kept finding themselves last night. So big shout out to Maddie. He is a great pusher and a great friend. So I do appreciate him for that, for letting me snag the win last night. Before we get into all about call, to Trevor's, you guys have any final thoughts on Daytona?
Yeah, TK, if there's a car to the outside by themselves, don't go help them. Kills all the
Hey.
momentum.
Listen, I was trying to get somewhere. I thought that was my best chance to get somewhere, and
Your
it didn't
best
work out.
your best chance was your 2 other teammates in the car in between us that could have gone 3 wide on the last lap. Now, like Justice said a while back with teammates, or maybe it was TK that was talking about teammates not pushing or guys not pushing each other. Justice and I
It was
were,
a stage.
yeah, Justice and I were pushing the crap out of one another before that second to last caution. And we had Jeremy Burns behind me, and Burns was kind of laying off a little bit because Rob was leading the bottom line, and that kind of shucked me back a couple of spots there on that final restart. And like Call said, you're just hoping for a big wreck and you having a chance of getting through it. And the big wreck never happened, but yeah, you top 10 finish, start the season, you can't really complain about it.
I want to interject something about Burns here. So Burns and I had a conversation because I did publicly call him out over the radio about I felt like his checkup or kind of trailing off of Tyler caused the stack up in the top lane before the stage that caused the wreck. So we were talking about it earlier, and he said his oil temp was red, pushing 285, 290, and he was backing off of Tyler to not blow up, according to him, and according to what Mr. Mouth wanted to say in Discord earlier, without actually calling me out. So, but is one of his teammates. But Burns himself did tell me he was blowing up. I asked him if he took his fast repair. It wasn't until the wreck that happened, where he was backed off Trevor, that he took the fast repair. So the way that these car physics work now in iRacing, when you get your temps up on water or oil, it kind of takes a toll on your engine. So he was not able to suck up to Trevor because he was not fully powered until he got in the wreck and had to take his fast repair on lap 98. So Burns himself was not super aware of that either until I said it. He was like, that makes plenty of sense. So yeah, I will give Burns something there. USA obviously scored. Go ahead, let it out,
did.
Nick.
Let's go! Come on, it's 2-1 USA, baby. Ice
For-
football.
But yeah, for our viewers that aren't hockey fans, Canada, USA in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship game right now. And Nick is a massive hockey fan. So if you see Nick randomly cheering and or throwing crap in the background, just know something either good or bad has happened to Team USA.
Or if Morgan Cook and Alex get a shout out, that's probably why.
Yeah.
So, Hair Trevor, do you have anything that you would any recap of Daytona? I'm sorry if you went on. I think Justice stepped in before you said anything, right?
Yeah, no, just the back of the pack gets wild at the end of the race. I mean, it's almost worse than the front of the pack when they're going for the win. I lost my edge a little bit there at the end and almost caused a big wreck in the back for 15th for no reason. It happens on these things. We try to be better at that though, and not do that because I probably lost 3 or 4 spots doing that. And then we were 4 wide going into 3, and we all stacked up into the wall. I'm sure it wasn't on the camera. We're probably watching the crazy ending, but that was wild in itself.
I
it,
will
it was
point
a lot
out.
of fun,
I will
but
point
I was
out.
not happy at the time.
I watched the broadcast back, and they showed your 4 wide from the back stretch all the way to turn 4 before they showed a
Before the
replay
finish.
of the
Oh, I haven't
race.
watched
Yeah,
that.
so they cared
I haven't
about you
watched it
guys
yet.
going
just
4
watched
wide.
the
They were watching
Yeah.
the 4
I,
wide.
I wouldn't blame them if they didn't show it, but
Yeah, they
it
did.
was wild back there, and we were. It was just crazy, and I kind of lost my edge. It all started with me. I gave the 20 kind of a door and got him really upset, and I didn't really wasn't trying to door him like that, but I was trying to get out of the side draft and stuff with these cars. We talked about the side draft last week, and it turned out almost really bad for all of us. So
So that's our
I want,
Daytona. Oh, yeah,
hold
yeah,
on,
yeah,
Nick. I
yeah.
want one more thing.
Okay, okay.
I'm going to
Oh
point
boy.
this out. Thank God, Dakota Floyd, I am so sorry, brother, that you got your 17x penalty and it took 5th place from you. But I am so glad I didn't have to lose the race the way I did and get the Nick Alves
Oh,
6th place award today. Oh, I would have been so
Because
mad.
you
Well,
know
I
who
thought you
did?
got it. I
You-
thought
No,
you
I
got
ended
it.
up 5th
I was about
because
ready to call
Floyd
your
Yeah,
shit
no,
out.
no.
So
Floyd
that means
got
you
penalized,
got
so I
it.
got
Yeah.
5th.
So actually,
Yeah.
Justice helped both of you not getting it by him coming flying back up the track. So shout out to my own teammate Alex Forget for getting
Oh.
the Nick 6th place award for the season opener at Daytona. So
Canada guy.
k- anyway,
Report.
so as of right now, there's no one that has double 6th place finishes. I'm sure the first person to do that will be talking about you for a while and call you Nick Alice for a while. So, man of the hour,
Wait,
Michael. Yeah,
before you switch.
yeah.
Congratulations. We haven't mentioned it yet.
Oh, thanks.
Nick won.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
we kind of went across everything.
actually,
He didn't finish 6th, and he
that brings
won.
up another point
Yeah.
that I guess I'll ask Nick because you didn't make the playoffs last year. We're race 1. You're in the playoffs.
Thanks, TK.
How does that feel? How's that change the strategy for
You know,
the
it's
year?
funny. After the race, I'm not gonna say exactly what I said because I can't really bleep it myself out here. But the first thing I said was I finally won my race, and the second thing was I'm back and I'm not leaving, meaning the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
So can we
yeah.
bring this clip up when he's out in the 16th round? In the sixth, in the sixth,
In the first
He's,
round.
it doesn't
Well, this
matter. He's there.
this is gonna be deleted before we get to the playoffs.
Does that change your strategy for the rest of the year, though?
I've already said it. I've already said it in our team chat that regardless of who won, of how much winning means to each individual person, that now it's kind of like, do you want to be selfish and get bonus points, or would you rather help your team out any way you can to get more of your friends in the playoffs? Because if you have more friends in those positions, then you know they're more willing to help you during the playoffs too, and also helps for team points too. So. But yeah, I'm the team guy. Everybody knows that. I'll do anything I can to help out the guy that's next to me or in my chat. So I'll do everything I can, or anything that they ask of me within reason, to not do any race manipulation or anything like that. Call. But I'm a team guy. I'm a team guy. So with that being said, thank you for the kind words, Michael Call. All about you. My first question to you is that's everybody on their mind. Actually, I really want to know this too. What was your intro to racing? And we can talk about IRL first. How'd you get into IRL racing, and just tell us your story of IRL.
Okay, this is gonna take a little bit. So,
Good.
when I was like 2 or 3 years old, I learned my numbers by watching NASCAR with my dad every Sunday. Like we sat on the couch and I watched every race from when I was really young. I mean, my dad. I mean, obviously I don't remember, but my dad tells me I would sit there and watch every single lap. So I was really, really invested in the racing thing. I mean, I had every diecast car in the world, um, you know, whole 9 yards. And then my cousin actually raced the go karts, which is behind me for the viewers. Um, that I kind of got into, and my dad raced motorcycles when he grew up as a kid, and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, do you want a dirt bike or do you want to do this?" And I told him I don't want to do anything that doesn't have seatbelts, and so we got a go kart when I was 4. I started racing with Red Bluff Outlaws when I was 4, and I'm 26 now, and I've been communicating with Nick to be able to time this right. But I just got the car loaded in the trailer. Trailer's parked out front. We're racing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. Um, so I've been doing it for a long time, but I haven't been able to really do anything else other than go karts. I've ran a legend car a couple times, done a couple things. The funding just never. My dad, my dad was a grocery clerk at Safeway, so when it comes to funding to try to get to anything else, it was like, hey, dude, you gotta figure it out and do it on your own. And um, I really didn't take advantage of that. But that's really how I got into IRL. Um, and now I've actually kind of switched my focus more to iRacing. I mean, I race the go karts still, but I race them 13 times out of a year. I don't race it every weekend. I pretty much take all the summer off and focus on this main Red Bluff season because that's really where I started and I enjoy racing there. But iRacing has kind of taken over that race every single weekend aspect that was in my life for so long when I grew up uh, throughout high school and everything.
So I do want to point out, and I have to stop. So I don't know if you guys are able to see this. So Rob messaged us and had a request, and I did do it. If you can see it, Rob, he made me do a timer because he wanted me to time you to see how long it was going to take you to bring up Kyle Larson when I asked you how you got into IRL racing, and he said
Never
17,
brought him up.
and he said 17 seconds. That was over a 2-minute rant, and he never said anything about Kyle Larson. So
Look, Kyle Larson's a cool guy, right? I grew up with him.
Uh,
He was a couple. And he's older than I am, right? So he was like a division ahead of me. Yes, I know Kyle Larson. I know Tyler Reddick. They don't. I mean, hell, I see him around the racetrack. They don't know me. Like they don't know Mike my face. But I did. I grew up with them. I hung out in their trailer. It's cool to be able to say that a guy that was a Cup champion grew up where. I mean, the same place I'm racing at Saturday night. I mean, the same exact building, in the same building, in the same pit area. Like, it's just cool to say. That's why I'm a Kyle Larson fan. It's not because I like think he's Jesus. He's not Jesus. I mean, he's. I mean, in the real aspect of everything, he sucks. Like he's not that good. He wrecks everything he races. but he wins too sometimes. So I don't know. Kyle's for Rob's sake. I respect Kyle because he came from where we came from, but he's kind of plateaued a little bit. Like on the sprint car side of things, he's doing good, but on the cup side, like we need another 10, 15 win season, Kyle. Like we need Kyle to come back.
It's not. You're not getting that in this car, brother.
I know.
Not in this
Well,
version.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
So, one question we ask all our guests. This is the one thing that's been constant throughout the entire podcast. What type of sim rig do you have? Pedals, wheel? Do you have triples? What are you working with?
So I've got a single 32-inch 4K monitor that I race with because I don't have triples and I really don't have room in my house to have triples. I have a Moza R5 bundle with the upgraded bigger wheel, this wheel right here for everybody. And I actually just purchased, I don't even know the name of it. It's some Chinese rig. And I got it off Amazon.
Oh, that's
and
right.
everybody
Yeah.
talked shit in the Discord and was like, go spend $1,500. Go buy a Sim Labs. Go buy. Bro, this from compared to what's sitting right here that I used to race with, it is 1,000% better. I don't know I don't know the brand anymore. It's like starts with an A, but I got it for like $700 and came with a seat, came with everything. The one complaint is the monitor mount is pretty far away, so I ended up using my monitor arm and connecting it to the monitor mount so I can get it closer to me. But rather than that, that's it. I mean, pretty simple. I started iRacing on a GT, a Logitech GT, the one with the little red knob on it,
Oh
and an
yeah.
all-in-one PC from my dad. Like not like the desktop to the monitor, all-in-one PC. Averaged about 42 frames, and started that in 2012. And now I've kind of upgraded it to here.
I think it's the fun part when you think about it is kind of like where we all started when we started iRacing, and what it's involved to. Like you, Call. I started with a G29. I think most of us started with probably a G29 on the floor in a kitchen
Right.
chair, hooked to a table with a single monitor,
A
and
TV tray, or I
yeah,
mean, you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dude, the TV tray was the worst because if you turned too
yeah.
hard, it would fall on the
The-
ground.
Oh yeah.
right. And then now, I thankfully I've got the room. I just upgraded to triples on mine. And then I think the same as Justice, I got the Fanatec CC direct drive. But from what you start with to where you get to, I mean, you never think the difference it can make. And I know how much of a difference a rig makes when you're actually
Yeah.
static in a seat. How much more comfortable it makes racing.
Yeah, so when I first got into iRacing, I like had to beg my dad. I found like a wheel on at Craigslist at the time, not Facebook, because we didn't have Facebook Marketplace at the time. Craigslist. I'm like, Dad, this guy only wants $75 for this wheel. It's $300 brand new. Like, I really want to get in this game or sim. Sorry, I don't want to offend anybody here.
Grant.
G-Red.
Luckily,
Grant's
it's
not
okay.
here.
Grant
He
doesn't
doesn't listen to the
yeah, doesn't
pod
listen
either.
to, but
So
you're
my
good.
dad actually took my race winnings in order to fund my first iRacing account. Like, well, all my it's still my current account, but like to buy cars and buy the wheel and buy the membership and everything. And he told me, hey, I'm not paying for this. You got to race and win races to get some money as a kid, which was like $30 to win a race, right? Like it was nothing crazy, but to pay for your iRacing. So that like put something towards, hey, you got to win races so you can keep racing during the week on iRacing. So that's just a little fun little thing that my dad did with me that I hate and love him for now because it taught me the value of a dollar, but it also taught me that you think you can make money racing race cars and it's not possible.
Nobody
Um,
makes money until the Cup Series.
to
You
now,
still, there's only certain people that make money there, trust me.
Yeah.
now to piggyback off of your sim rig, obviously you have the sim rig, you do iRacing, you're with RR. Remind all of us and myself, because I do not remember, how did you find Racing Revolution?
So it's kind of it's an easy story. I joined Inferno Motorsports with Schaefer running. He was in another league that I was an admin for. open set league, very small league. I mean, maybe 20 guys a race, but it was fun because we all knew each other, and it was kind of more of like a long story short. Schaefer was like, "Hey, you should try running in this league with us." And I literally joined the Discord maybe I think 4 days before Daytona, and yeah, that's really how I got into with you guys. And then after Daytona, I stepped off on the wrong foot with everybody. And then I won Atlanta and really stepped off on the wrong foot with everybody. And this kind of that spiraled down until I kind of went, hey, you know, you're not like for the longest time I had this weird ego thing on iRacing because I raced IRL that like, oh, I could beat people that don't race. Like I race IRL. And then come to find out, there's people that are I'm gonna say way fucking better than me in this call, way fucking better than I am, and that kind of like dropped the ego down a little bit. Now I'm more focused on just being consistent, not trying to piss everybody off, trying to get on the good side of everybody. I know I came in kind of on the wrong foot, and I know I seem like an asshole, but I'm not. And race everybody with respect, which is something I think I did a lot actually on the racetrack. My first season, I don't think I was really too crazy. It was just more of the actions in Discord that kind of strung people along, I think.
Yeah, I think if you extrapolate one from the other, it was definitely like I look particularly like at the Indianapolis race, right? Where
Yeah.
you knew that you were not fast enough to be up there. A lot of guys, right? Because you talked about when you came in, you thought I'm going to go in there, I'm going to win races, I'm going to beat these guys, and it's humbled a lot of guys thinking that coming in
Me too.
to
I'm one of
RR,
them.
TK being one of them, right? But
I got humbled last year too, so don't feel
yeah,
bad. We've all been
I
there.
legitimately Indy was where it flipped for me. Like, okay, whatever he wants to say in the Discord, I don't care. He at least races with respect because a lot of guys
Yeah.
would have said, "Fuck it, I'm blocking these guys." Right?
Yeah.
You knew
I
that all
did.
that was
I did
you.
block Rob for a little bit.
You tried, but it didn't. Right? You knew at the end of the day that wasn't going anywhere, and so you
No.
just took your lumps, and that was where it like I said, that's where it flipped for me. It's like, okay, he's serious about wanting to actually race, and whatever he says in the Discord is just bullshit half the time.
90% of what I say in this Discord is bullshit. It's
Yeah.
more of I love our Discord, honestly. Like, let's be honest here. This is the first league I've ever joined. I've been a part of ones that started up, ones that have been around for a while, um, vice versa. That it's active. Like everybody in the Discord is active, and there's constantly something going on. And one, it gets me through my workday. Let's be honest. I mean, when I'm sitting at my desk, I'm like, dude, I got to start something on Discord so I can get through this day. But like, I try not to start things that get me in trouble, right? And last year, I was kind of starting stuff that was getting me in trouble. And this year, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've toned back just a little bit. I only comment on things that unless TK says Seabell's better than Larson, unless like I kind of just keep the
It's
run
all
on
fun.
jokes going. Um, that's really about it. I try not to be the main character anymore, which I think I've kind of submitted that in my name, which is fine, but I want it to be for a decent reason. Like, hey, this guy's just poking fun, and he's a good guy. He races with respect. He likes to talk a little bit of shit, which is fine. I mean, we all do.
This guy
know,
showed up. This guy showed up for his second race ever in RR1. He's like, he just showing up the next day, showing up with his next day with his third leg, and just plopped it in the Discord. It's like,
Dude, I
yeah,
did.
guys,
He
I'm
did.
I
here.
did, dude.
Like,
He did.
I fucking flopped that thing out like the
He did, and then we went
and-
to a skill based racetrack, and he went,
dude.
"Oh shit!"
back to
I think it was
30th.
Vegas the
Yeah,
next race.
yeah,
I think it was
Yeah.
Vegas the next race. And
Vegas.
Yeah, it was.
I
Yeah.
was running like I qualified like shit, and I was running like 15th. And
There was a big wreck early in that Vegas race, though.
Yeah.
yes, and I missed it. And then I got the Travis Gilbert effect and
Yeah.
ran 33rd the rest of the race.
Yeah, they can have, and the bad part is you can do that on speed and go, "Why the fuck am I out here?" I mean,
Yeah.
it happens
Yeah.
week to week.
That was That was me all of last season. Go, why am I out here every
Yeah.
week,
Yeah.
dude?
Well, that's
I
why
mean,
I missed so many
me-
races last year. Is like I really just didn't have the time to practice with my newborn and everything, and work was crazy busy. And I was like, hey, I won that race at Atlanta. If I could just keep to where I could still be in the playoffs, like I shouldn't be out here with these guys. Like I haven't spent enough time one with everybody in the Discord to be running side by side, door to door, side drafting, and accidentally turn some guy, then get called a fucking asshole when I just made a mistake. It wasn't because I was meaning to. I just. But we can keep going. Sorry, Nick. We kind of got off on a tangent.
You're good. Hey, this is the call show right now. So, I know we briefly talked privately about what you would want to talk and bring up here. Um, Before going on to next week, we can still touch base on you for a few minutes. Is there anything that you wanted to bring to the table to discuss? I know you said you're going to think about a few things, whether it be I know you touched upon the Discord, you touched upon your IRL. We did a little bit of sim racing. Is there anything else that's on your mind?
Um,
It can be
Not
anything.
really. Like, well, it can be anything, but also like I'm trying to think of something that's got like you guys will be able to talk about too. I don't really have anything. Like, I'm really not that crazy of a guy. Like, I don't really do much, and I try to stay home a lot. I don't like being out. Man, really, it's more about what I really actually want to pinpoint here, since it's kind of my segment, is the admins in this league and the league itself. If you have watched and you race iRacing and you like next gen racing fixed, this is the league. Like, I'm not trying to be a big promote whatever, but this is like straight honest review. I've been a part of a lot of them. This is by far hands down the best league I have ever been a part of. From the admin, from the racers, from the Discord, from the relationships you build and end up becoming friends with people, that you would never have met, you know, other than maybe running an A fixed race on iRacing. But the league itself is great. V Speed does a great job. All the admins, you guys do a great job. No matter how much I bust Nick's balls about, the team bullshit he played at Talladega, no matter how much I question shit, um, that's the point of it, right? You got to have someone there questioning those calls so that you guys can, one, be better because everybody makes mistakes, but two, be able to have a pinpointed way to handle any situation. So you guys do a great job, and that's really what I want to end off on. Is it's if anybody's watching this, watches us weekly on V Speed, or just have heard about us, seen us on official races, like, this is the league to join. If you want to join one, this is the one.
This guy's gonna make me go get my suit and tie with a rose and give it to him like I did with
Happy
Mama
Oh,
Bear.
birthday,
I got
like
one more
Mama
thing.
Bird.
I got one more thing.
Yeah.
So I haven't told anybody other than Rob this, and TK knows about it. I sent
Uh,
something to TK.
Still haven't got it.
TK has a package coming. It hasn't shown up yet. It's delayed in shipping. Now, I asked TK if he would please open it and videotape himself opening it because it was something something I thought he would like to have. I'm not gonna say what it is because
I
I
can
want
mute
it to
and
be
deafen if you want to bring it out.
no, because then if you watch the podcast,
I don't
you're
like
gonna know
listening to
what it is.
myself talk, so
Yeah.
He's
I
lying.
just don't
He's
trust it.
lying.
I don't
He's
trust it.
lying.
I don't trust it. So I'm not gonna say what it is, but I do want to give TK a hint. It is a
Oh,
pair
God.
of racing gloves. Not from me, not my own, from someone else that
Hmm.
is signed that I thought that you would like to have. That's all I'm
Signed
saying.
Christopher
T-
Schaefer
TK, do you want to go
gloves.
get your suit and tie and Rose?
No, I will say
Let me go
they
get
are
my suit and
signed
tie.
they are signed by a cup driver, a current active cup driver, and no, it is
Oh.
not Kyle Larson.
Corey LaJoy gloves coming at you,
Oh,
TK.
yay!
There's
It
a
is
penny
an
on
Justin
him.
Haley.
So no, I think I have a pretty good idea, but I do appreciate that a lot.
I just thought it's something I've had in my display case forever, and I don't really care for the guy, so I figured, hey, TK can have him.
It's gonna start a trend of gifting random RR gifts to everybody. And it's gonna
But you
say,
have to record yourself, no matter what. I need
Oh,
the
we will.
video of
Listen,
you
dude.
opening this package.
Nick, you started the random gifting when Rob got
When
his
Rob got
present.
the chocolate.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
But
ended
TK
up
was so
coming to
confused
Charlotte.
because I just out of the blue texted him,
Yeah,
"Hey,
he
what's your
messaged me,
address?"
and I was like, "Oh, great! What's coming to my
And
house
he's
right
like,
now?"
he's like, what?
Uh,
Actually, his first response was, if it has anything to do with the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm
Oh
blocking
yeah,
you.
because it was right after the Super Bowl. It was right after the Super Bowl. We had the
And
whole
I'm like,
thing in the Super
Fair.
Bowl.
and I'm like, no, it's not. I
I-
promise you,
I-
it's
I-
not.
I
Twist,
will
the racing
say-
gloves are signed by Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
I-
That was really
I will.
good.
I will say, and I think I'll touch on this every week. This league is hilarious because you can do random things like this. Like, if any of us ever asked for each other's address, you just know you're about to get something out of
Right.
pocket or,
And you
or
give it to
actually
him
really cool. Yeah,
knowing.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know you're about ready to open
actually,
up a dildo or something.
I think
Right.
hey,
Hey.
actually the first person to start the gift giving, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was actually B Rich when he jokingly sent me the Max Verstappen hat.
He did.
So,
He did.
so
That was
shout out to
great.
B Rich if you're listening. You're the one that
Yeah,
started this.
and to talk kind of about what Cole was talking about the kind of the activity of the Discord, right? You look at things and you make friends along the way, and you look at like Bristol and Charlotte and things we've done along the way as a group to get together, meet in Nashville. Hell, to the point that, I told Call, of all people, right? Because we had our beefs to open up, but it was like, hey, me and Maddie are flying out close to where you're at out there. Would you be interested when we fly in and maybe grabbing lunch or grabbing dinner or whatever? It's just not going to work out, but it's just one of those things like, that'd be cool to try to do, and so
Right.
to see that the camaraderie that it kind of builds, I agree. Super active, I don't know. I feel like that's where we came from originally. The league we were in originally had a pretty active Discord, but when I look back at it, it's probably very inactive now because it was mostly the guys that are here that were in there talking.
It's crazy.
I was,
That,
when you when you
go
can
ahead.
get when you can get 25 people that have never really been together in one spot, and it be respectful and a fun weekend, that says a lot about the group of people that you chose to associate with and bring into this.
Yeah, one of these years I'm gonna make one of those meetups. Now, you guys always pick, like, Kevin's doing one with OMT at he wants to do it at Pocono. And I'm like, dude, that is like
It's
the
across the
most
country.
Across the country.
expensive place for me to go.
Yeah, it's hard for Bennett too because Bennett's in Phoenix, and so
Yeah,
it's even
so it's
harder
like-
for Bennett because the champ race is there. So
Yeah, I told them, I go, hey, can we just pick somewhere in the middle? Like,
Kansas.
pick
Kansas,
somewhere- that's what I said. I
Kansas.
said, let's go to Kansas.
Michigan.
It's a badass racetrack. He's like, I don't want to go to Kansas. I'm like,
Michigan,
"All right,
Michigan would be
Speaking of,
fun.
speaking of
Coda,
Kansas, kind of funny.
as funny as it sounds, would probably be the most fun you could have. That's like a meet in the middle.
right,
I
Coda
mean,
would be fun.
Austin is awesome.
right.
Don't go to
Yeah.
Texas. Trust
No.
me.
No,
As somebody
I wouldn't.
who went there for 15 years in a row with season tickets, I would not haven't been back in 3 years.
Yeah, that was a bad financial decision. Whatever.
Well, my dad and I lived in
That's
Texas. I
different.
grew
You're
up
with your
there.
dad. That's different.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean that was our thing. But after the repave, I mean it was a fucking off a cliff, as everybody knows.
I'm excited to see with Sonoma with the repave.
Well, that'll be. I
I don't
forgot
think-
about that.
I don't think it
forget
was
about that.
repaved last year when they went.
I thought it
No,
was
it
because
was.
it
It was.
was because Denny
it was,
was
that's
pissed
right.
it started ripping up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
asphalt.
Because that's when that whole
Right.
Twitter beef started. With
Mhm.
Yasamani.
Oh,
He
yeah,
was
well-
mad as hell.
I'm excited to see Sonoma year 2 on the new overlay.
It should be it shouldn't be quite as slick as
It
it
shouldn't
was.
be as well, but you got to remember they run sports cars on there every week around,
Right.
so there's a lot of wear and tear that happens at that racetrack. So that stuff's gonna get worn out. Like,
Yeah.
Give us
so
Auto Club 2.0.
Well, and it's hot, so
never have it. Dude, the last time I went with the ARCA team to Sonoma. It was like 107 degrees, and it was not fun.
I still wish they would move that race up in the year so that it was
Dude,
green and
and then
kind
like
of the countryside
it would
looked
look
really
so
good.
good. It
Yeah.
would look so good, and they don't.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because you go there and it looks like you're in like Death Valley or like
I'd say you
looks like you're
swap it with Coda, but you go to
Dude, it
Coda at
would be
that time of year, it'd be
120.
110.
Yeah, 110. Oh, it would be miserable in
you'd be in
Coda.
you'd be in the same spot.
They
Yeah.
already
everywhere.
messed up Coda once this year. They don't need to do it twice.
So,
Right.
so the shift gears here, and love the back and forth. It's awesome. That's what we do. And again, hey, as you guys can see as we're talking, we all get along. Great. Um, Atlanta Super Speedway.
For now.
Oh,
Basically,
Oh my
not an
gosh.
exact copy of what we just did, but along the same lines as Daytona. So I'm gonna flip it up a little bit. Instead of talking about Atlanta Super Speedway first, what the track is, because I guess the viewers and the watchers of the podcast can understand what super speedway racing essentially is. So I think what we should do is give our pitches to our predicted winners, and actually not predicted winners. They're gonna be random uh,
Spin
given
the wheel.
winners
Spin
Spin the
to us.
wheel.
The wheel of
misfortune,
opportunity.
maybe. Yeah.
Probably better name.
We
Yeah.
need to
So
name this segment.
yeah.
All right, somebody drop a comment on what we should
Yeah,
call this
let's
section.
let's get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You guys tell us
Nick,
what
do
should
you
we
know
name the wheel?
where the picks from last week ended up?
Oh, we
Oh,
need to keep track.
I had Morgan as my first
Uh,
one, who was the first person to get called out in the bitch box. So
I'm gonna
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
I'm gonna make a note of that. I'm gonna start doing that from now on. So from
Gotcha.
race number 2 all the way down, we're gonna
I-
have results. All right, going
I had
forward.
Morgan
So
and
Remember, I had
Burns. I think they
Schaefer.
both wrecked out.
Are
so
And
we
I don't
are we
think
doing two
I think
again?
Schaefer was pretty tame, and
um,
that's probably my
it's
fault because
actually
I
I'll do
don't.
this. Call. Would you want to do one each or two each?
I think it's more authentic with one.
Okay. All right, we'll do
Right,
one.
and
I
I
think
And
I think two is you don't get two chances at Atlanta. Well,
okay.
we do because we got a fast repair,
got a
but
fast repair.
other than that,
So
typically you don't.
since you are our guest, we are going to have you are going to have the honors to do this first. Um, so let
I
me
hope you
know.
get
Can
justice.
you see? Can you see my
Yep,
screen?
I
I hope he
gotcha.
gets
Okay.
Jacob
All right.
Surkovich.
Here
Me
we go.
too.
That would be awesome.
Jay Sir,
Uh,
I hope I get TK.
oh, one of the new
Oh,
guys.
Yeah.
Justin Ritchie.
All right.
That's
So,
cool.
OMT and Orange Speed actually have a collab on Super Speedways. So I'm pretty sure Justin Ritchie is part of Orange Speed with Morgan and Dakota and those guys. Justin didn't have good luck at Daytona. I saw for some reason he was out early. I don't know what happened. Um, but I don't really know a whole lot about Justin and how he does on plate tracks other than based off of Daytona. I hope he wins because I have him now currently, right? But I just hope he keeps his nose clean and we can work together with me, Carter, Chris, Kevin, the whole gang can try to get up front and keep Rob and Justice from wrecking each other again.
All right. Great pitch. Great pitch. Who would like to go next? I'm going last. FYI.
I'll go next.
Okay, we got
Just do
Justice.
same order. Same
Okay.
Pray
order
to
for
God
the
you
win.
get me.
All right, Justice. Here we go.
Since I won this race last year, if you get me.
He's gonna get
Hope Justice
himself.
gets Rob.
I'm
Hopefully
gonna
he's
get
Rob.
myself
Oh,
again.
yeah,
Oh,
what's
I'm
up?
gonna
No,
teammate.
no,
Yes!
no,
Teammate again.
no.
I'm gonna teammate again.
No, hey, don't remove T. Oh, well, I guess you can.
I
'Cause
can't.
if I get him, it's the same concept.
TK, you
It's
okay?
just-
You okay removing you, and
Yeah.
we'll just have him spin again.
We all know why TK is gonna win.
It's
I'm
because
just
of the hair.
I'm
It's
just
because of the
playing.
hair.
TK's gonna screw up the pit strategy.
And
Oh man.
it's the other rookie.
Coda Floyd.
Okay. I'm gonna need to see him not get in a wreck on lap 17 or whatever it was that split us from the field. But yeah, same kind of sentiment as Call. Not really 100% positive, kind of where these guys are at yet on the supers. It's gonna be very hard at Atlanta, even with these alliances that we see like P4 EXR, LFM RTR, Orange Speed No MT. It's hard to get all formed up together at Atlanta, other than through maybe a pit cycle. You got a little easier chance there, but there's going to be a lot of like 3 and 4 car situations. And so, how you split that up, can he get with the right combination of his OMT and Orange Speed teammates? Um, I think that they can. I think that they're going to kind of go through the rookie getting used to the league. It showed last night quite a bit. They just weren't quite comfortable. I think for the most part that whole team, but they'll get there. I'm not too worried about them. I've seen them kind of all drive a few weeks between trucks and recruit races and other things. So. I have some faith in those guys, but yeah, I think he's got a chance. Just like everybody else, just got to get a clean car to the end.
I do have to say, I just want to say, I was very impressed with how you rolled off all those abbreviations off your tongue with the team
Yeah, that
names
was
there
actually
really
pretty
quick.
good.
That was pretty good. I believe it's Trevor
Yeah,
Earhart.
bald.
It's
One of them.
okay.
Which one?
I was gonna say
You
I had 100% on Trevor.
Yeah, I mean you were right.
can't
So
go wrong.
Oh,
Hold
oh
on.
yeah.
If things go right, he may not be there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh.
Talk him up
Uh,
anyway.
This motherfucker's gonna miss the second race of the season.
He may not have a choice, brother.
Oh,
yeah, it's
there's
like
a reason.
I think he's got a legitimate reason. No, I mean, hey, Beerish was up there at Daytona. And he's been up there for the plate races. He's pretty competent plate racer. And like you guys have said, it's all about being there at the end of these things. Justice and I during our team meeting recap, we're watching some old Atlanta footage and watched the call win from last year. I mean, it's just chaos on the last lap, and then it's kind of put yourself in the right spot. And he's got good teammates to work with. I know he's on Travis's team, and Travis is really good at qualifying and being up front at these plate races. And I think if B Rich can kind of take a little bit from that and put himself up front to start the race, I mean, he's got just as good of a chance as any of us to go out there and win the thing.
Shout out to B Rich for that, and also he messaged me right after the race and asked for a picture of him leading the race because he feels personally he never gets up there, so he wanted a picture to remember it.
An early congrats just in case it happens before the
Oh,
race, brother.
Gotcha. I know what's going on now.
Yes.
10-4. Good luck.
Ooh,
Okay.
huggies.
Um, Devin's shown a lot of improvement throughout his 2 years now, 2.5 maybe. He improves almost every week. There was the one race last year where he was running up front with Travis for a long time. Him getting with Travis, he's learned a lot from him. You can tell already. At this point, you just got to stick with him. Travis can qualify well. He was on pole for Daytona, so he knows he can qualify well there. Devin's got to learn from Travis there. Try to learn how to qualify, get up front, stay up there, be there at the end. I mean, it's hard to get track position at Atlanta, and it's just tough. You got to do it through pit cycles. So you're not really gonna do it through passing, barring something crazy happening. Yeah, just do what you've learned and stay up front.
Make sure you change your diaper, make sure it's clean, put some powder in, and go get him, Huggies.
Bump the shit out of them.
I want Nick to get Loveland. I don't know why.
One of these days we're gonna say a name,
There it
and
is.
then we're actually gonna get it. So I got Travis. So
He's gonna
it's
stay on all 4 wheels.
it's without
there's that.
Yeah, you can't get off the ground
It's
again.
pretty easy when you think about guys right off the top of your head about who you think has chances at super speedways. We all say everyone does, but you have those very few names in the back of your head. They're like, well, these guys may have a better chance more than anybody else. And Travis is one of those guys because if you notice through history, TK pointed it out when he was talking about Devin, is that Travis is really good at qualifying. He's understand the art of qualifying a super speedway, so he's always there. The first and hardest step really is to start up front. The next step is to stay up front, and Travis has shown he is very good at managing lanes. He's very comfortable with dictating, and he understands what lane's going to get the pushes and the runs, and he's shown time after time that he can position his car in spots to block the lanes, but not aggressive blocks because we've seen aggressive blocks in Travis. When it comes down to the end of the race, there's going to be aggressive blocks. But throughout the race, Travis is very good at putting his car in those spots to make sure he can stay up front. And just like yesterday, he just randomly mic'd up because there was a second pack that he was in that was having trouble going forward because they just weren't pushing correctly. Travis mic'd up and said, "Hey, who wants to go to the front? I'm going to push you." And he showed it early on in the race because he matched up with Kevin and he pushed Kevin to the front, got the lead, and he was well out in front for I think it was like 10 car lengths on the inside line until everyone else just sucked back up to him because obviously the draft. But Travis is one of those guys that's really good at super speedways. He hasn't won a super speedway race yet because the last couple of laps are so unpredictable. But Travis has the skill set to stay up front, be up front when it matters, and he will get himself a super speedway win, and it could be Atlanta Super Speedway. So we'll have to wait and make sure you all tune in on Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. on V Speed on YouTube to see if any of our random picks that we got actually pull out the dub.
Nick, write them down.
I got them all written down right now.
Yeah, the funny part is, as much as we talk about, how tough it's going to be at Atlanta, and this is probably a little bit of a race preview with this, it still is a super speedway in the way it races. And, it's something we were going through in our race recap was, hey, at the end of the day, it's kind of like these 4 or 5 names are floating around the top 10 at the end. It's the same ones that do it at Daytona, same ones that do it at Talladega. Guys that know how to do it at any super speedway. So I would assume you're probably going to see those same 4 or 5 names late in the race with a chance to win. Whether or not they can close it doesn't always happen, right? I mean, you look at Atlanta last spring, call wins. The Atlanta the spring before, I believe, is when Grant Turner won. I mean, you kind of get some off the wall winners because at the end of the day, while you can get yourself up there all day, closing the deals a different thing. So I expect kind of more the same at Atlanta.
Yeah. So Michael, as the last year's winner of this race, you probably feel very confident coming into this. How do you like Atlanta Super Speedway, and what are you uh, looking for? Obviously, you're looking for a win, but how are you coming into this race? What's your mindset?
Well, I think I played Daytona way too cautious, um, and just tried to. I didn't use my fast repair all race. Didn't have any damage all race. I didn't put myself in the right position at the end. I mean, yes, I finished in the top 10, but it was merely based off of staying out of the wrecks and getting in a decent line there on the green white checkered. Um, Going into Atlanta, which yes, I won last year. It is a super speedway. That that race was actually my first ever laps on the new scan of Atlanta. Um, and I don't know. I'm not like super confident because it's a super speedway, right? It really is when it comes down to things. And luckily last year I put myself in a position where I was pushing Schaefer coming to the white flag, and he went to make a move to get to the lead when I actually mic'd up in the trioval and told him not to do it. And he made that move and pretty much wrecked the whole field, and I was able to sneak through and picked up the win. But like Justice said, it's all about getting yourself in those top 3 rows on that last 10 laps, the green white checkered, the um, like I said at Daytona when I think I restarted like 8th or 10th, or it might have been on the bottom lane on the green white checkered, and I just told everybody in our team chat, I'm like, hey, I'm going for it now. Like I've put myself in a position where I have a shot. If I wreck at this point, I've waited around 99 to 100 laps for this moment here, which is kind of how Atlanta played out last year for me as well. The seas just parted, and I ended up pushing Schaefer, him lead car, me second car in the outside lane, and we got a huge run off of 4, and it worked out. But I'm not super confident just because it's a super speedway. I'm confident in my ability, but I'm not confident in the fact of the way the track races. There's so much out of your control.
Well,
Yeah, I was say go ahead.
I
Pretty
would say
sure.
I'd be pretty, I'd be pretty confident though because we were in that A fix the other day and I was in eighth and I couldn't move. I kept going eighth to tenth, eighth to
I got
tenth,
lucky there.
eighth to tenth, and this dude was like 15th, and then all of a sudden he's going by me. He's up to second, and I was like, I can't move. I don't know how you did that. I can't go anywhere. So
Honestly, I couldn't even
something you figured
backtrack
out
and
there
know how I got there.
instinctly or whatever, it worked, right? So you got something
did work.
figured out. I would be pretty confident.
Yes, I mean it worked, right? Like yeah, I got there, but it was mainly because I jumped to the outside lane at the right time and wasn't
Yeah.
the lead car and didn't get pushed out of lane and just rode there. And then the bottom lane, like you said, the whole A fixed race was horrible. So
It sucked.
it just it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bald, go ahead. How are you feeling about Atlanta?
Uh, fairly confident. I like the super speedway races. I tend to be up at the front. It's just about avoiding the chaos at the end. So we'll see. I feel pretty good about it. I like my teammates and the kind of uh the help we have from your team as well. I think it'll put us in a good spot. But it's all about taking the run at the right time to kind of go off of what Call said. You can get into you can get into a line and be stuck like TK or go forward like Call did. And it's about being able to knowing when to go and when not to go into a line. Because you can go up there like Wednesday, for example, Justice, I got mad at you because you didn't come up and give me a chance to push you at one point and waited another lap until it was kind of more evened out because had you come up, we probably would have stacked up and killed the field. So it's all about getting the timing right and doing that. And, I think I have a pretty good understanding of what to do in that situation. But it's all about positioning yourself correctly on the last lap to make sure that you have a shot to go to win it.
TK, how are you feeling?
Not confident. I find myself up towards the front in a lot of the super speedways, Talladega, Daytona. I mean, I say a lot of them. That's the two. Um, Atlanta, I struggle. I struggle a lot at Atlanta. I think I mean, with a little luck here and there, Talladega, Daytona, I usually get good finishes. I know I didn't yesterday, but probably my own fault. Atlanta, I finished 19th last year. I the year before was probably worse. I don't think it was better. I can't figure out Atlanta. I can't figure out how to get up front and stay there. I can't figure out how to be there. Um, it's a struggle for me, and I'm trying to work on it. Like we ran that A fix the other day, finished like eighth. So we're trying to figure out how to judge the runs at Atlanta. It's different. It's a super speedway race. It's similar, but it is definitely different, and it's harder to pass. It's harder to get up front, and I can't figure out how yet.
The
Yeah, I
one
think
thing I've noticed about Atlanta is it's so fast paced. Like compared to Daytona, Talladega, it's like Daytona and Talladega are so wide and so big that like things almost feel like they're happening slow, right? But like at Atlanta, it is like you got to be paying attention. Like if you make one mistake, it's over with.
Yeah, I was talking about. I'll allude to that first, and the second point second. Talking about white knuckling it at Daytona. It seemed like everybody kind of locked it into that mode, kind of after the stage around lap 50 or so. At Atlanta, you're going to be like that on lap one. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be because particularly the bottom lane as you're trying. It's a lot tighter of a radius, so as you're trying to get around there, the car gets a little tighter in traffic. There's a lot less room to get up as the top lane is there. So yeah, you see a lot of that. This car hates the air on the nose that gets dumped on it, so it's super tight when you're right up behind somebody. But kind of like Call was saying, you hear real life racers go, "Hey, legitimately, when we're at Daytona, Talladega, places like that, it's in slow motion when you're in the car. Like it's peaceful. You're just kind of there, like, yeah, I'm out here driving and I'm going 200 miles an hour, but it feels like I'm going 5 miles an hour. It's just the way that you kind of process once you're in that moment. Um, I think one of the things at Atlanta, I feel decently confident at Atlanta. Um, One of the things Trevor alluded to about runs, you really have to judge it at Atlanta more so than Daytona and Talladega is if you're going to try to jump a lane, kind of the game I was playing last night of I want to make sure if I'm going to jump up there, I've got to run. I jump up there, it just continues the run. At Atlanta, that is significantly more important because when you go to jump up there, sometimes you're in the middle of the corner and the guy at the back of the pack's still on the flat part of the straightaway. And that can cause a lot of trouble with the stack up, especially as the cars get tight, getting up onto the banking. So, a lot of factors go into how you're going to work it at Atlanta. Again, going to be a lot harder to find teammates. I think you're going to see pods of 3 or 4 guys. If they can get together, it's great. But like I said, the bigger alliances are going to have some struggle if they're trying to find all of their guys together. It's going to make it very, very difficult to do that. But I think the winner is going to be kind of along the lines of what team finds the best kind of pod to work together. How do they find each other, and can they make the right pit call? At the end of the day, we do have some new pit rules at Atlanta. We ran these pit rules the last 4 races there. You had to kind of enter going into turn 3. iRacing has now programmed that in. The biggest thing is the commitment line, sort of like Bristol in turns 3 and 4. The commitment line doesn't run all the way up to the edge of the apron and track, down all the way on the flat. So you can't maximize speed quite like you could before because you can't get up on the banking still and run. So, going to be very, very slick, very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised to see some wrecks in during green flag pit stops in that section.
Yeah, I think personally, I don't really mind Atlanta Super Speedway. To me, it's just another Super Speedway. It's also just like you were saying, it's a little different. It does feel like it's a little bit more faster pace just because it is in a smaller track. But I'll be okay with canceling the rest of the season. I'm just saying, I'm okay with
Of
it.
course you would.
I had a one and
This guy
done.
sounds like me
That's
after Atlanta last year.
yeah, right. But no, I think like Justice's point, the guys that are trying to make it a point to work together with another team, it's going to be a lot harder to manifest getting together because again, you're going to be so more tight together. Right, you can take it 3 wide, but it's going to be sketchy if you do that, and you're really going to have to make up all your time, like we were speaking earlier in the podcast, with pit stops to try to get in and out as quick as you can. Um, it's great to pit with the same time with like 10, 12 guys so you can get lined up at the same time when you come out of the pits. But to me, I think you can get a better in and out if it's just 4 guys that are like just on your team because then you're like, okay, well, I can maximize the apron speed. Granted, also to just a point, Alonso Speedway has a brand new rules with pitting. Last year, they didn't iRacing didn't police those, but we did with our own rules, which just staying below the white line and not being on the racing surface. And there was this little part of the apron that was angled up a little bit, a little banking, and we would use that. A lot of guys would use that, and they would pass a bunch of guys going to pit road. You can't use that anymore because iRacing now deems that as racing surface, and you will get a penalty if you enter the pits while being on there at all. Even if you have two tire wheels on it, you're going to be penalized. So I think Valencia Speedway is going to be very interesting with pit strategy because again, it's very tight. I think qualifying again is going to be a big thing. I wouldn't doubt if you see a lot more guys this race just say, "Hey, I'm cool with just chilling in the back," because I know the chances of a wreck at Atlanta are a lot higher than than Daytona, and we've seen absolute carnage in Atlanta the last couple of seasons, especially when we've had our green-white checkers and coming down to the last lap. So it's not abnormal for some guy to be in 30th to 35th in the back, just putting around on the last lap, and the big wreck happens in front of you. You get by them, and you end up finishing in the top 10. So anything can happen there. So it'll be fun to watch. It's going to be absolute, like I said, entertainment for the people that are watching it. It's going to be absolute heartbreak for 39 of us if we have 40 guys. There's going to be one person that's actually going to be leaving there happy. So can't wait for that to happen. So that is our Atlanta preview. We are
I'll bring up
running.
one more thing about Atlanta.
Go for
Sorry. Um, I wish they'd rescan it because
it.
IRL Atlanta is way different than in Sim Atlanta because
Yeah.
in Sim is scanned as soon as they repaved it, right? So it's brand new every time you get on it. IRL Atlanta's got some character to it now. It's worn out a lot more, and I really
Take it
wish
you
we could do
listen
that.
to DBC.
I have not.
Okay, because Bubba mentioned, he said it's aging quickly, and he expects at some point, probably in the next, either if not this year, probably in the next year or two, that they would have to repave it to continue for it to be a super speedway.
Hopefully they don't. Just
Interesting.
leave it be.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that's
should let it
what
age. I mean, it's just in a perfect spot where it ages really nicely.
PK,
I-
you and I
it's-
were talking about that during our fixed race.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. You're like, this isn't even close to how they race here now. Like, yes, they still are somewhat super speedway racing, but there's a lot more lifting, a lot more tire managing now in the Cup Series race that you're going to see this Sunday than what we're going to do on Wednesday. The right front does wear out, but typically you can make it the fuel run before it really hurts you.
So, thank you guys for all those great insights in your previews for Atlanta. If you want to see if any of our preview predictions, whether it be the winners or just our overall prediction for the race and what we expect out of the race, be sure to turn into V Speed on YouTube Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and you can check out all this for yourself. And then you can come back either if you're a driver, you come back in the Discord and go into that podcast discussion, call us out and say, hey, you guys are wrong. Or, hey, wow, you guys actually know what you guys are talking about. And hopefully
Hey,
one of us are.
hey, Nicholas.
Yeah.
What about Monday nights on V Speed? They got anything going on there? Man?
We do briefly to touch upon that just because we're running a little bit on time here. So trucks, V Speed, Monday nights, same time as Wednesdays, same time, same place, different night. If you love V Speed, if you love Racing Revolution, if you love racing, Monday night, Wednesday night, V Speed. Monday nights is trucks.
Go ahead.
Monday nights is trucks. We just had our first race last Monday. Shout out to Alex Forget Berube, my teammate. Back-to-back wins for performance to start the seasons in both trucks and cup. Way to go. Cut the seasons right there. Performance on top.
I challenge truck drivers because we're at Watkins Glen and we know who's dominant at road courses. I challenge you guys to beat Burns and
Wreck
do it
him.
cleanly.
What? Oh.
Cleanly.
Cleanly. Cleanly.
Don't
I
have to
challenge.
say
It's a challenge.
my brake
Hey,
pedal.
my bank account's wide open, boys. If you need Burns out of the race, I know a way.
La 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 la. I didn't do that.
We need.
I
Go
think my
out
brake
and beat
pedal,
Burns. Shock,
my brake
shock
pedal
the
got
entire
disconnected.
RR.
It's
Go
very
put the work in.
easy. It's very easy to block the S's. But but yeah, no. Hey, but seriously, Burns is where he's at in road courses because he put the time, he put the effort in.
Yes.
We can all do that within limitations. You know, obviously everyone has different schedules and stuff, but if you have the time and the determination to get better, you can put the work in. Anybody that is listening to this and you want to get better at road courses, send Burns a message. Send Trevor Earhart, Justice Murphy, our road course aces, Rob a message. They're all willing to help. If you guys want to get better at any track, anybody. That's why the whole league here is friendly. If you know, hey, pinpoint a guy that you're like, wow, this guy's, I know he's really good at this track. Or if you just want to make a new friend, message us, message whoever you want. We're here to help. For the viewers out there and then for the watchers that are tuning in, be sure to tune in on Monday. Maybe TSK's little challenge actually comes to true and someone else shuts down Burns for a road course. But we will
I'll
see
put
again.
$50 on it.
$50.
Someone beats Burns, $50.
There you go. That's what I wanted to do, but I haven't worked in over a week.
TK just wanted to. He was just doing
Someone
the
beats
rah
Burns
rah.
legitimately.
Yeah,
TK
just
a
a
hype
hype man.
Let me
I love it.
legitimately. If you beat him straight up, you don't wreck him. $50.
Burns, that
There you
does
go.
not mean
There you
you
go.
get money if you win, only if you lose.
And no, Burns, you can't
Yeah,
throw
and
on
you
purpose.
cannot
Yeah,
Burns. You
that's
can't
right.
come in and change accounts and just come in as Jeremy
Yeah.
Burger or whatever. You can't do that.
Bear me
Yeah,
Jones.
you can't do that.
Bear me
But
Jones.
it is. We do have to say one thing before we get off air here is we have to shout out our main sponsor for the Cup Series. Also, we'll say Truck Series or just Racing Revolution in general, and that's Chapman Environmental Services. Chapman is your source for environmental solutions. Chapman provides integrated environmental management and consulting services. You can find Chapman at chapmanes.com. That's chapmanes.com. They do great. If anybody that watches our V Speed broadcast, you'll see them. They have a whole commercial, and with our brand new OBS setup, I'm working with trying to get an actual commercial instead of me just rambling on words to try to talk up these sponsors, and hopefully you guys get a better visual of everything. But thank you to my co-host for showing up yet again for another episode for season 3 of RR After Dark. You guys do a great job. Love your talking points. Love the back and forth. Michael Call, congratulations for being the first guest on the new season. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know today was a little bit hectic here trying to get you on, and we may have had to reschedule. So it was great to get you on. Love your input. Love getting to know you a little bit better. Love putting yourself out there and you informing everybody else who you are. And who knows, maybe you made an extra fan or a couple of people to root for you on Wednesday nights and Monday nights. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for letting me come on. I felt I wanted to be the first one, and I messaged Nick probably 3 or 4 times about this because I wanted to be the guy to say that, like, clear the air from what I did last year a little bit. But thank you. This is really cool that you guys do. But I have one thing, Nick.
Mhm.